Hi, in this week's vlog I'm going to discuss some quite big differences between your world's best golfers, the elite golfers on tour, and your average weekend golfer. On the left hand side I've got a young lad that I was teaching a while back, and on the right hand side I've got Adam Scott, world #1 golfer, great ball striker. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to point out the differences in the way they transfer the weight and the positive and negatives of each. So what I'm going to do to start with, I'm just going to highlight where the upper centre is at the start of the golf swing, or the sternum. Now, as you can see at the start there, sternum is pretty much on top of the golf ball, and in fairness that's pretty much where these two swings end in terms of similarities. What I tend to see a lot and read a lot is how you've got to transfer your weight over your right hand side, and to be honest that's just not the case. For you to gain maximum consistency, you've got to keep the upper centre over the top of the ball throughout the golf swing. Now on the left hand side we're going to start this back. Now at setup, weight is probably 50-50 or maybe slightly favouring the left side, maybe 55-45. This is good because it makes it a lot easier for you to control the low point of your swing, and by the low point of your swing I mean basically where the club will stop descending and start ascending again, so it will start coming back up out of the ground. So as we start this swing back, you'll see that straight away the weight starts going away from the target. So if I stop that there, you can see that his weight is travelling very much in this direction. Now at the top of his backswing there, his weight's probably 80% onto his right hand side. Now, a lot of people think this is good for generating power, and whereas it might help to generate a bit of power to the point that you've got some side to side momentum going on, moving your body away from the ball like this is very, very inefficient for ball striking, and if you don't hit the ball out the middle of the club face, you're going to struggle to generate any power anyway, because any power that you gained is lost. As well as that, your spine also tends to stay flexed forward for longer. Now in terms of this guy's actually not done too bad. He's managed to get a pretty solid 90-degree turn. But what you'll also see is that for him is a maximum shoulder turn, and his left arm's only just got past parallel, so there's not enough rotation there, and this is because it's very difficult to turn your shoulders and your hips properly while your spine's still in forward flexion. It's very, very difficult. Now we're going to start Adam Scott's swing back, and you'll notice as he takes it back is that upper swing centre has barely moved, if at all. It's turned round that point. His weight's pretty much as it was at setup, maybe slightly left-sided, probably more like 50-50, but the weight hasn't really gone to the right hand side. It's stayed where it is. Now we've talked already about how staying in forward flexion can really hamper the distance that you can get, because it limits the amount of power you can generate. You can see Adam Scott here, you can see how basically his upper centres are one on top of the other, and they're both on top of the ball. If I look at this gent on the right hand side, you can see his upper centre's moved a good 3 or 4 inches at least behind the ball. Now the problem you've got here is consistency of your striking. So as he starts to swing down now, the gent on the left has got to really work hard to get his weight going back to his left hand side. Now that's difficult enough for most golfers anyway, but you can see there the upper centre's still behind the ball, meaning that the low points of his golf swing is also behind the ball. And if his low point's behind the ball, that means the club is starting to work up as it makes contact with the ball. And as we all know, if the club's working up, you can't hit the ground in front of the ball. It's impossible. Whereas Adam Scott here, as he starts his downswing, the weight starts going forward straight away. So if I stop him halfway back there, his weight's already 65% on his left hand side, maybe slightly more. I continue down into impact. It's probably more like 80-20 left sided. You can also see though that upper centre has pretty much stayed where it was. It's not moved forward, it's not moved back. And then as he continues to work through here and through to the top of his backswing, the weight is about 95% into his left hand side. Whereas if I go back to the gent on the left, you see he's trying to get it back, but you can see from his foot position here, the weight started to sit back. It's probably slightly left sided, maybe 60-40 maximum. So the weight's falling backwards, the hips have gone backwards, and he's really going to struggle to generate any power. The other reason why getting your weight forwards excuse me, getting your weight forwards is so important is because getting the weight forward and striking down on the ball allows the path to be shifted into this direction. Okay, so that's the club. That's the direction the club's travelling. So the club's working down, and if the club's working down, it's also working outwards. Which, as we all know, we need the club to be working outwards if you ever want to try and get that draw. Whereas with this gent here, the club's working this way. And as well as obviously the club working up, which is affecting the consistency of your strike, it's also working in, which again, as we all know, if the club's working left, that promotes a lot of pull shots and a lot of cut shots, a lot of slices, which is what most amateur golfers tend to struggle with. So if you want to generate some more power, more consistency by striking the golf ball first, and if you want to shift the path out to the right to allow you to play more push draws, and at worst your bad shot would be more of a push, I would advise you to get your weight forward at setup, maybe even if it's just 55-45, and don't allow it to work away from the target. If you keep the upper centre in place, keep it above the ball or maybe even slightly in front of it, and then as you start to work down into impact, get your weight going forward even more, so your weight is 80-20 left sided at impact. You are more likely to hit the golf ball first, which would improve your ball striking, and you're also more likely to get the path working out to the right hand side, which should help you with that draw shot. Really hope you found this interesting and most of all useful. I look forward to posting up some more blogs again soon. Thank you very much for listening.